I love playing the Silica wood whenever I'm doing a video. Well, I mean, the sustain from the blood sword could be absolutely true. But whether or not it's good enough, like Reagan would have better sustain than Dwan. So if it's a battle against sustain, again, the fact that the blood sword has just absorbed 15% of the damage done does require a character that is very reliable on getting critical hits, because it's slash attack up and human killer. You're going to be doing the DPS basically, but you need to be performing a critical hit. So if you can't hit a critical, then the sword isn't really going to be as good, sort of thing. Like New Wing Stern has pretty high chances of hitting criticals, so it's very likely. Like this, the Genji glove feels basically good on everybody, kind of thing. But the blood sword, I think you still have to be a little bit careful about who you're putting it on, because it does require a critical as a contingency for its healing powers. Also, I didn't do my intro. Hi, YouTube. We're taking a look at the PvE content that a lot of people were already poo-pooing, but hey, check it out. It even has a story, which makes it better already than 90% of the collaborations out there. I say 90% because it's been years and we still haven't seen that many collaborations. Not technically, not really. Like by this point in 3 years, Brave Exvius, the original Brave Exvius, is in every single Final Fantasy. We got a cute little Moogle here. I'm just going to take a quick peek out the window. All right, enough of that. So we're doing a bit of a preview tonight of this content before anybody's like, hey, why aren't you editing this down a little bit more? I would like to show the content in its entirety this time. Also because like this thing does feel like it has more put into it. I know that people are like, oh, they're reusing the wave battle thing. I mean, yeah, I would prefer them see mechanics come as an actual, like, permanent part of this. Eureka. New girl, Eureka. That should be easy to remember. Little Green, brand new character. She is brand new. She is not a gacha character at all at the moment. Like her design. This is Lucio's girlfriend. I should start a rumor that this is just Lucio's girlfriend and never elaborated on it ever again. I should do a post on Reddit titled probably bullshit. Just say, look, Lucio has a girlfriend now, and then nothing. I'll never respond to the thread ever again. This is one of these ideas that I have on stream that I don't do normally in the videos. And it's for everybody who's like, well, it's not an actual animated one, like the cutscenes or anything. Fine. You know what? If we get more content that actually has story, I don't care if it's 3D animated or not. 2D animated stuff is perfectly fine for a game like this. Also because size matters. Don't let the girls tell you differently, boys. As you can see, we're not even able to get right away into it. We got these story first, which I actually kind of like. Dare I risk a little bit of audio? And again, I might have actually muted. Didn't think about that. So obviously this is going through a little bit of the story setup. This isn't just like content that is like, oh look, selection quest with like very, very little like reasoning why it's happening. This new mode of wave battles, which is called the Chamber of Arms, which Chamber of Arms actually has a pretty long history in terms of FFBE. It used to be like trial content, even that back then, which is ironic because Wotv happens further in the past than FFBE. That had a little bit of story elements too, kind of. And I do agree with people who are like, well, Umbra, I wish that they had more focus on like adding new enemies instead of just like older enemies. And yeah, that will be nice. I hope we get there eventually. It could be still that that is the plan down the road. Although, how much further down the road? Wait and see. Well, I'm hoping that they'll, at the very least for this first one, we will get, I mean, like, continuing story is a hope for me as well. But I'm really, really hoping that we will get... Huh, where did those parties come from, game? I am hoping that we will see a little bit of... Seriously, what the fuck? How was this chosen? I am hoping that they'll at least use the tree boss, which is already in the game's data. I mean, I'm hoping for more down the line, obviously, but like even Sephiroth, not. I guess it was just randomly chosen at random, using random things. I don't really want to put too much effort into it, but something that you do need to set up basically 2 parties for this content, and from those 2 parties you essentially, like, you can't have a duplicate of any summons or any vision cards between the 2 parties as well. So like if you have like Mont here, you can't have Mont in the other party for like you are Mont. Also the Espers too, like for instance, you can't use Phoenix in both parties, you can't use Chaos Odin in both parties, so it does require you to essentially have 10 Espers. But you know what, let's not even really try that hard. As you can see, we start here on floor 1. Looks like we get the Blood Sword very quickly, as well as the Genji Glove very quickly, which is pretty cool. We also have a new currency, which, before anyone gets angry, let's at least see how difficult it is. But as you can see, we're basically trying to climb this up, and there are some good resources and rewards in this. We have a couple of select tickets. We got a UR antler, which is more valuable than gold, and basically more valuable than Globaler's accounts right now. Is it a joke? Alright, so let's just go in. We're going to try this. So we're going to be fighting wave number 1. Let's see how difficult it is with the game auto-choosing our party for us. See if there's any, like, things that we got to worry about. Anything like that. So let's go. Seems like we're pretty able to kill these this first group. Might even be worth taking a peek at the enemies. So level 50 enemies on wave 1, not really the most difficult things in the world. Probably most people will agree with. Let's just let it go. We can easily auto this. We don't have to worry too terribly much about it. Engelbert doing what Engelbert gonna do. Also, we got Mont and Wing Stern in a party. I mean, that's probably an achievement for someone. Yes, good old 2 tank parties. All right, so wave 1 clear. No problem whatsoever. Congratulations. As you can see, we're done. We get some gold for it. We get all of these things. So also a really nice thing is that it just doesn't have any of the actual trial missions, which I really appreciate. Slow animations. So let's... I am curious. So we click this to go to the next wave. Oh, so we gotta... Wait, what's a green crystal? What does the green crystal do? Alright, immediately something I notice is that that enemy did not die. That's a pretty big jump. That's actually a fairly decent sized jump right away here. A lot more resistances already on the second wave, with not really a ton of elemental resistances. HP, AP recovery, and also bravery up off of the green crystal. So there's already a few like mechanics that we are currently already aware of. All right, we're gonna let that play out. And something I'm curious about here. All right, so the Tonberry was much more damage resistant. Not 100% sure, but I do believe I remember seeing that some of this stuff does actually count across multiples. So for instance, this, which was our AP recovery, we used a small one already. So you can see that it is persistent across, which is probably a little bit dangerous, or more than a little bit dangerous. So you're going to have to be careful. You do have two parties that you can switch in and out, but like if you get autoing, this is probably not auto content just because it's really dangerous to just like let it do whatever it wants kind of thing. And you have to think about AP generation. Obviously, we have some crystals here. I don't think there's, since there's no missions or anything, you cannot really mess yourself over too terribly much for having like a, oh, I'm just not going to use this here. That's annoying. So espers, all of that will basically be persistent through the entire thing. So when you use your abilities, again, this is up to people whether they want to follow this or not. But I think, like, truth to be told, this right here, like, just leaving it to auto might not be like super possible. I can flash too. Oh, so we're immediately into wave 3. Now we're starting to experience characters like that are not just like bosses, but also this. We're seeing some Tonberries. Looks like it gave us some space. And so these crystals are basically, the first one was just wave 1. It allowed us a little bit of a time to get out and test. Now we're right back in it, so very little downtime to figure out what we're doing here. I'm noticing a theme for this floor. Everyone else can tell me if they notice it too. Not sure if enemies can pick up the crystals or not. Really, really worried about my HP already, which is hilarious. Oh, this will be super easy. Instead, alright, might be time for the super duper... Oh, why did I do that? I misclicked. Shoot. Woo! Alright, this is getting, dare I say, a little spooky. Nice bit of damage we could potentially do there. I think we're going to go with this instead. Try and get that going. And maybe we can just wrap this up really nicely here. I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't put it in those words. I would not put it, like, obviously, yes, it is a kind of, so it is like Tower, right? In the sense that you are fighting competitive waves and some of the rules are the same, but Tower didn't put you up against like wave after wave of enemies. So it does have some new aspects. I'm not going to be unfair and say that it is just Tower again, because it's not. And even if it was, you did want to look at it that way kind of thing, the fact is that here, I mean, this is permanent content, which automatically makes it better than Tower. So yeah, we've lost one of our characters so far. I could kill a bunch of my allies. That's interesting. Not super really wanting to do that. So let's just jump here and see how this works. I wonder if the cream crystal has any properties like it heals your entire party or not. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second. Wait a second. Hold the phone. Wait a minute. Can you park on a crystal and it heals you every turn? This is, I want to say that this is actually a little, maybe, dare I say, could it be that it actually kind of Fire Emblem? Alright, let's get rid of him. So, yeah, the crystal, we used it once, but it seems to be that the crystals are actually permanent in some way. Which is the one that gives me regen. That's not it. Shoot. I did pick the wrong one. All right, so we cleared the tower, part 2, which nets us, honestly, really good stuff. So let's click the second button and see what it does. So that allows us to continue. I regret bringing these teams. Can I switch? Okay, so there it is. So basically, yes, there is no limitations, but when you restart over, like for instance, right now, I just effectively killed my run. We're going to have to go right back to wave 1. So it's kind of interesting in the sense that you, at least I think, right? Because if we do this, we're going to be back on tier 1. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that there's no time limits on this is interesting to me. It costs stamina, but the stamina cost is just 20 for an entire tower increase. So you can effectively just keep doing it. The resources or the rewards you get are one time, and there are no specific missions, but it does get incredibly, it does seem to scale pretty fast. Like, for instance, I think like anybody can basically get through wave 1. Wave 2 to 3 is someone who's been playing and probably has, you know, some better built characters and everything. Although I have to admit, stop was very, very prevalent here. So that's good. Because I was hoping that the antler would at least be really easy to get, and it is. Waves 4 and 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 10 will probably be considerably more difficult because you have a limited number of uses and a limited number of characters that you can actually bring in. So yeah, I would not say that it is something that you can just throw random characters at and just auto. So it's not auto content, and it, unlike Tower, you also can't cheese it in the same way. For people who don't know, there was a thing in Tower, whenever Tower showed up, where you could just throw in a single character into a party. Like every time you would just pick an incredibly low tier character that you didn't care about. Like for instance, Leela. Let's say you just put Leela in a party, throw her into tower, let the tower run kind of thing, and because of the way the AI works, there would, you know, the units would use certain abilities, certain buff abilities, and you could keep doing this again and again and again, just killing off one character of yours at a time, and you could basically deplete the units on that floor of being able to have most of their strongest abilities, and especially most of their big buff abilities. Not possible with Wave, so that's a thing before we get too far into whether it is just a carbon copy, which I don't think it is. I don't know. So far, I generally like it a little bit more. So before we end this video, because I actually am recording this, let's take a look and see if we can find our new piece of equipment. Which I have no idea what the initial stats are. Might be even easier to just find the Genji glove. Oh, it's... okay, it's 28 attack, so I was way off. There it is. So there's the new blood sword. To upgrade it, you need books and a total of 50 of the new currency, which is only gotten from Wave. So even if you get the blood sword right from the get-go, you need at least 50 of these, which again, I just want to look back at this for a second. So 5, 10, 25, 30, and 30 means that you do need to complete all of the waves. If you wanted to use both the Blood Sword and the Genji Glove, right away you would need to complete all 10 waves. However, I'm assuming that if you just keep playing, when the next point comes out, when the next series of waves and pieces of equipment, you will be able to use that stuff. But to upgrade one fully from the first one, you'll need to do at least 6 and 7. So yeah, you'll need to do at least up to 6 and 7 to upgrade one piece of equipment from a series of wave battles. So there you go. That's a cursory first look at wave content. And honestly, I like this. You can move at your own schedule. It's not going to lock people out of like getting it over time. Like this is something that anybody can access any point in time. Also, it does give some, like, even if you can't get a Blood Sword fully upgraded or a Genji Glove or piece of equipment, for newer players' accounts, these are still pretty big equipments that they can get right out of the gate, right when they start playing. And that's a net positive for the game. Even just getting a UR Antler pretty easy is a pretty big deal right now. So I'm saying that this is a general positive. I do want to see more unique bosses in this stuff, and I do want to see some kind of challenge mode as well against particularly difficult bosses. So I do have a list of things I want, but I'm generally happy with this. And hey, if Umber is pretty, at least generally happy with it, they got to be doing something right, because he complains about everything.